What's going on, guys? I just want to give a review of this Predator Generator 6500. I've had this thing for about 6 months. Unfortunately, my power goes out all the time, and I just can't have that. Got a couple little kids, so I need to have, certain things running. I initially bought it to run a little bit of everything, including my central AC and heat. Obviously, my plan was to run, when I ran that, I was going to turn everything else off, just run that. If it was cold, I was going to run it long enough to heat the house up, turn it off, and then run all my appliances. And then the summer, do the opposite. I was going to turn everything off, run the AC, cool the house, and then switch it back. Somewhere in my research, I guess I missed it, my fault, but it won't run my central heat and air. But other than that, this thing does a lot. It's pretty kick-ass. It will run my entire kitchen. Both my girls' bedrooms, lights and plugs. The bathroom lights and plugs that's in between their rooms. And then other, little miscellaneous things that are on those circuits. Like, for some reason, the garage lights are on. The kitchen light circuit with patio, my back patio lights. And then some other little random things. It got down to about 2 degrees a few months back. I ran my kitchen and then my girls' rooms because they're still young and they need a nap and they need sound machines and stuff like that. I had bottle warmers going, and it ran everything. I did have a couple of little heaters that I had plugged in inside. It would run 2 of them, and when I tried to run a third one, every probably 20 minutes or so it would pop a breaker. So I ended up not running that third one. Same thing with like my microwave. It wouldn't run my microwave. That sucker pulls all kinds of power. So it would pop the fuse on here, pop the little breaker on the generator. When I had it under all of the load, when I was maxing this thing out, a full tank, which is somewhere around 5 gallons, I believe, it will last me about 8 hours. That's under max load, which is pretty good. Whenever I don't have, a lot of things running, power goes out, and I just run just the kitchen. This sucker will run for 12 hours. So it did not come with the wheels and the handle. That was an extra about $60. I want to say I got this thing, I got it at Harbor Freight. I want to say it was about $750 or so. Well worth it. And then I wired everything else in on my own, and, to have power in emergency, it cost me about $1,000, including that. And, that's just gas after that. So it's not bad. It's a lot of cash, but it's not a lot when it comes to needing power and then having it when you need it. It is a pull start, so it doesn't have the key or anything. I believe the 9000 has the key. If I were to do it all over again, since I just got this thing to run my house, I would probably get the 9000, but there's absolutely nothing wrong with this thing. I've run a couple of smaller welders off this thing. I have a 120 welder, and then I have a little 220 stick welder that I've run off this, and I mean, it doesn't even cough at it. I've run that 120 welder with a couple of grinders as well, and this thing it'll go all day. It is heavy. You're not going to put this thing in the bed of a truck by yourself. You're going to need at least 2 people, and you're still going to need to you're going to need to be wearing your big boy pants to do that. It's heavy. Let's see. You do the break-in, all the break-in when you first get it, and this sucker should be good. I've probably got 50 hours on it or so, and one pull, and it cranks every single time. It's an awesome generator. I really do recommend this thing. And then, unfortunately, I need to use it a lot. And so I've kind of figured it out. All the stuff that I said, it kind of maxed it out. I've ended up buying extra extension cords to run from outside. My plug is right there on the outside of the garage wall. So I just run an extension cord into the garage, and then I'll run it into the house. And this thing will run all that stuff that maxed it out and would pop that breaker. It'll run it off of the extension cords. So there's a couple other things. I had to turn everything off just to run my microwave for some reason. Microwave's on its own breaker. I turned everything off just to run the microwave, and I still popped that thing one time. So I don't know why, but it wouldn't do it. But when I ran a extension cord from this 110 all the way inside, plugged my microwave in, no problem at all. I still had I had the kitchen running. I had both my daughter's bedrooms running and everything. So, it's just kind of trial and error, the way that, each individual house is wired on a circuit or whatever. I'm not an electrician, so I'm not going to get into that. I will say the wrong thing, but little trial and error, figuring it out. And this thing will run it. So, I definitely recommend it. Like I said, I've probably had it for 6 months or so, and unfortunately I've already got about 50 hours on it. I know the longest I've had this thing running. At one time we went without power for 21 hours. And that was when it was 2 degrees. That's when I had all the heaters running. And, I filled it up with gas one time in 21 hours. I'm sorry, I filled it up twice. I filled it up twice in 21 hours. It started out with about a half tank and then topped it off. So I went through almost 15 gallons of gas. And that's a lot, but like I said, I had this thing maxed out, so it was running full bore. It was pulling everything it could. So that's not too bad. I don't think, I'm not 100% sure, but it does good. I definitely recommend it. It's a little big. I believe it's a little bit big for just running little things, but in an emergency situation, you need to run your house, power goes out, you got storms or something, it's going to be a couple days. This thing's definitely going to run. It's going to have no problem running necessities. Even if you don't have your house wired for it and you need to just run extension cords, this thing's going to do it. It's going to be plenty. But if you do want to run a lot of things, I would definitely recommend saving up for that. I think it's a 9,000. I don't think it's a 9,500. I think it's a 9,000. Regardless, it's at Harbor Freight. And I would get that big one if you think you're going to run a lot, or maybe you have a, I don't know. But this thing's going to work. I love it. And I really don't have anything bad to say about it at all. Other than it's heavy. I wish it came with the wheels and the handle. So I didn't have to buy that separate. It'd be cool if they included it in there, because that's a heavy sucker. Other than that, it's good. I definitely recommend it.